I think that the highlight in the past year is the institutional adoption of Bitcoin and the maturation of the asset class, along with the education of millions and millions of people as to why they might want digital property. Bitcoin is up 65%. MicroStrategy stock, and MicroStrategy's bought almost $4 billion, not quite, but nearly $4 billion of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy stock is up 66%. So we are tracking slightly ahead of Bitcoin. The S&P is up 14%. The NASDAQ is up 4%. Whoa, 4%. All of big tech is up 4%. Gold is down 18%. And, bonds, the ultra safe bonds, long-term bonds, down 18%. So in terms of asset classes, the crazy, volatile Bitcoin is the best performing of all those major assets. And then you can say to yourself, well, I'm just going to invest in stocks. Okay, let's look at big tech. Google's up 37%, Apple's up 32%, Microsoft's up 16%, Amazon is down 22%, Facebook is down 45%, and Netflix is down 52%. Okay. little MicroStrategy, no one ever heard of, up 66%. Would you have guessed that a mid-sized software company, low-growth mid-sized software company nobody ever heard of, would outperform Google in the last 2 years by a factor of 2? And so last point I make, we compete against companies 100 times as big as us. Oracle, 100 times bigger than us. They're up 25%, IBM's up 3%, Salesforce is down 23%, SAP's down 47%. Okay, so what is the lesson of that? The lesson is we're in the middle of chaos. There is no place to hide. Your choice is you could buy gold, but gold is dead metal and it's just getting ground into the dirt. Right? I can seize your gold. Gold is the half-life of money, and gold is 35 years. And you can't put gold on 8 billion iPhones. So the problem is there's no tech in gold, and it was a good idea in the 19th century, and it's centralized. Governments can seize it, and the gold miners keep debasing it. They keep mining more gold, right? In the best year, you get 2% more. In the worst year, someone seizes a bunch of gold, dump it on the market, you get more than 2%. So people are looking for a safe haven. What's it going to be? Property in Africa? Property in Venezuela? You can't have property in North Korea. Property in Argentina? A business? A business where? A business in Argentina where the currency collapses? What good are your cash flows if the currency that you generate the cash flows are collapses in value? So I think here's the big idea. Really big idea. Everybody in the world has to decide where they're going to locate their family. They have to decide where they're going to locate their themselves in cyberspace, their mind. The highlight of the year is people were stunned from March of 2020 to March of 2021. And from March of 21 through the middle of 2022, they're all starting to get their bearings. And they're like, well, I guess, what is Bitcoin? A digital commodity? Do I have to deal with that? Well, now Fidelity's talking about rolling out to 34 million retail accounts. You've got the government embracing crypto assets, saying we better figure it out. Congress, senators getting educated on it. The CFTC, the SEC getting educated on it. Big institutional investors starting to take Bitcoin positions. The media. Now you've got Bloomberg covering crypto. You've got CNBC covering crypto. You've got an entire world, media, analysts, politicians, financiers, and they're all starting to figure this out. But I still say we're early, right? This paradigm shift takes a decade. To summarize on Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is it's very volatile. It's getting jerked around. All risk assets are getting jerked around. If you look at one of the more interesting things, right? The 2-year you know, the 2-year Treasury was 16 basis points a year ago, and it's currently like 3.9%. We went from 16 basis points to 390 basis points on short-term money. The mortgage rate on a 30-year mortgage, you know, has gone from 2.7% to 6% in 12 months, right? The yield curve is inverted. You get paid higher interest on a 2-year loan to the federal government than on a 30-year loan. The 30-year loan is 350 basis points. So summary of all this, it's this, we had an unprecedented expansion of the money supply in March of 2020, where we just pegged interest rates to zero. And the banker said, we're going to keep interest rates at zero for the next 4 years. I think that if you live, I did have a business in Argentina, and I watched a currency collapse in Argentina where we lost nearly everything. Like, we lost all of our profits for a decade. And overnight, we had all our money in a bank, and it was in dollars. It was an American bank in Argentina.
Really?
And the American bank sealed itself. The government sent an edict to the bank. The bank converted our dollars into pesos at $1 per peso. And then the next day devalued the peso 10 for 1. And we lost 90% of our money in one day. And in an American bank holding in dollars. And luckily for us, it was a small part of our business. We went from investing $250 million in Bitcoin to $425 million in Bitcoin to eventually $1 billion in Bitcoin to $2 billion in Bitcoin to just slightly less than $4 billion in Bitcoin. And the result I just said, right, for our shareholders, our stock outperformed every big tech company, every asset class, and every enterprise software company. I think we did the number and we calculated we outperformed 485 of the 500 S&P companies over that time period. And then in terms of the corporation itself, we added billions and billions of dollars to the enterprise value of the company. So it's paid off so far, even though we get thrashed this way and that way by volatility.
Right.
Now, the war in Russia, the war in the Ukraine, the utterances of the Central Bank of Europe, the utterances of the Federal Reserve, all of those things impact our stock and impact our shareholders. I have an increment of $10 million of cash flow. Do I put it into bonds? Do I put it into gold? Do I buy silver? Do I buy land? Do I buy art? Do I buy Bitcoin? So I still think Bitcoin is the most scarce, most desirable, highest quality property. It's a long-term store of value. So I think generally for us, we've adopted a very simple strategy. We keep enough working capital to last us a year, normally in the range of about $50 million in US dollars. And then when we have excess cash, either from operating income or any other financing opportunity, we put that into our Treasury reserve asset. And we have adopted Bitcoin as our primary Treasury reserve asset. So we're 100% Treasury reserves in Bitcoin.